Happy.
The one,
La sonrisa de Roy.
2, 3, 4,
5.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
According to the Atlas of Languages, English only comes second in the number of people who speak Chinese, English, or Spanish. The Atlas of Languages reports that Chinese is now spoken by 1,000 million people and English by 350 million. Spanish, spoken by 250 million people, is fast overtaking French as the first foreign language choice of British schoolchildren. Knowing a second language can benefit you. Many people think that once you reach being an adult, it's almost impossible to learn a second language. Mary Abab, the Director of Education for the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, states, "We have this national psyche that we're not good at languages. It's still perceived as something only smart people can do, and it's not true. We all learn our first language, and we can learn a second one." Many of you in this room have encountered a situation where a foreign language was used. We hear different languages every day in the U.S., whether on our products from the store or a restaurant menu. It is important that people know learning a second language is not impossible once you reach being an adult. Many people are afraid to learn a second language. We are missing out on all the benefits that come with being bilingual. I invite every person in this room to learn a second language by starting off learning a few of the basic words. I'll cover 3 points today. First, I will discuss why being bilingual can benefit people by giving them better job opportunities. I will also discuss how it can eliminate the language barrier when traveling and how you can enjoy the culture better. In my last point, I will discuss how knowing a second language will help people be healthier. I will begin by talking about why I'm so passionate about people learning a second language and how it also allows us to have better job opportunities. Growing up, I was taught to understand and read Spanish. At home, I would never speak the language. Until this day, I have yet to master speaking Spanish fluently. When I was in middle school, my family took a trip to Puerto Rico to visit my 6th great-grandfather. Being that it was my first time meeting him, my siblings and I sat in a room with him in silence. We wanted to speak to him but couldn't figure out the right words to say. My family members who do not speak English and me not speaking Spanish created a language barrier. I wish I spoke Spanish well enough to have known him better. For families to have members that speak a different language and English, it is important that they teach every family member the second language. Another reason learning a second language is important is because of the job opportunities it creates. Employers love hiring bilingual people because customers who do not speak English like to have someone who knows their language. By knowing a second language, you have a competitive edge against those who do not when you're seeking a job. Some jobs even give bilingual employees a higher wage for knowing a second language. Now I will tell you about how being bilingual will help you when traveling. When traveling to a place that a language other than English is spoken, you will benefit if you know the language that's being spoken. According to the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, people who know a second language can indulge in the culture or where they travel better. For example, by learning French and traveling to France, you can speak to people about their daily life. One example of the benefits of knowing a second language goes back to my trip to Puerto Rico in middle school. We never and learned about some cool places to visit because both of my parents were able to speak to local people for directions. Similarly, knowing a second language helps people be healthier. According to an interview by the New York Times of a neuroscientist, Ellen Bialystok, The use of two different languages by one person is like exercise for the brain. In the interview, Ellen Biastock states that the use of two languages can prevent the symptoms or stall them for the Alzheimer's disease. So far, I have discussed 3 different reasons of how being bilingual will benefit you. Now, I will share how you can begin learning a second language. I want everyone to practice learning basic words from another language as a start to becoming bilingual. If you do not have family members who speak another language, you can consider taking a course of another language. For those who travel often, practice the basic words you were taught, and you could use them in your new destination. Let me conclude by saying that everyone should learn a new language. I discussed 3 points today. First, I discussed why being bilingual can benefit people by giving them better job opportunities. I also discussed how it can eliminate the language barrier when traveling and how you can enjoy the culture better. In my last point, I discussed how knowing a second language will help people be healthier. Many people are afraid to learn a second language and become bilingual. I invited every person in this room sitting here to open your mind to the possibility of learning a second language. I want each person in this room to practice just a few basic words as you start to learn a second language. Now the next time we all meet again, I expect everyone to greet me in any other way than English.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
Baño, baño, baño.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.